best of your love at WABC. 29 minutes past 8 o'clock. The honor group of the day, painters. You like the dog? Yeah, me too. If you're a painter, you're in the honor group of the day on WABC. On WABC. Good morning to you. It's 8:32. I'm Dan Ingram with you every morning, 6 to 10 at Musicradio, WABC. That's a pretty music called Babe. It's by Styx. Weatherman says great day today. Sunny, breezy, mild, low 60s. Some clouds tonight, maybe showers tomorrow. Right now it's 50 sunny degrees at WABC. Good morning to you. 9:14 on WABC. 44 degrees and cloudy out there. Supposed to drop into the 40s and stay there and then go down to the 30s tonight. Clear up and be a nice day tomorrow. Well, we'll wait. We'll find out about that when it gets here. I have learned not to trust the weatherman because yesterday it rained on the parade. So, well, it really wasn't rain. Shamrocks falling, right?
Only the new Chrysler Corporation pays you to compare. We challenge you to compare a Dodge Ram Tough van to Ford vans or Chevy vans. We think our van is better, and we'll pay you $50 to prove it to yourself. We'll even show you how to turn $50 into $500. Just test drive a new 1980 Ram Tough van. Then test drive the competition. If you buy a qualifying competitive new 1980 van...
It's 9:15. Time for the traffic wrap-up. Here's Jack Packard.
Okay, well, we're not doing too bad on the roadways now, Mike. That's Shadow Traffic for WABC. I'm Jack Packard.
9:16 in the morning. How you doing today? It's Tuesday, 18th. Yeah, I believe it's March 18th already. Well, we're 3 days from spring. Think about that. It's not too tough to take. Unless you don't like spring. Anyway, let's do it the second time around. Here's Shalimar.
I know you come as long as I'm with you.
Second time around, Shalimar. 20 minutes past 9 on WABC. 44 degrees, cloudy, a little drizzle still falling here and there, but mostly there. $3,599 in our cash call jackpot. $3,599 is what you got to know to win it when I call you in just about 15 minutes.
Here's how to use dynamite to build a subway station in your basement. And you could destroy your new subway station, your basement, and maybe the neighborhood. You're going to have a real blast. You're going to have a real blast.
Yeah, be the first kid on your block to be the last kid on your block. Barry Manilow is here. Can't smile, don't you? 21 minutes past 9 on WABC. Good morning to you.
You know I can't smile without you.
I'd smile without you. However, well, never mind. It's 24 minutes past 9 o'clock. It's 44 degrees and cloudy. Rain's supposed to stop, supposed to clear up, be a nice day this afternoon.
To someone else, it's just another.
That's lovely. Oh, man.
Musicradio, WABC.
$3,599 to win. To win. And I want to give that money. Would you like to have $3,590? If you know that and I call you, say, how much? $3,599. You win it.
Somebody wrote me on the radio. The best music. WABC. Standing, drumming, 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 drumming.
Reach out on WABC with your long, loving arms. Oh. Well, like the Marquis de Sade once said, it's my pleasure, my dear. I love it.
Now, if you feel that you can't go home because all of your hope is gone, and I'll be there, you can always count on me.
Oh, don't stop it now. That's Ron Lundy. Music is my life on WABC. Come here, Blondie. Sing, baby.
Color me your color, baby. Color me your heart.
Call me. Don't call me that. Yes. I told you not to call me that. It's 22 minutes before 11 o'clock. Good morning. That's Ron Lundy on WABC.
They left it at that.
to Mount Vernon, you would have been named Monticello if the post office wasn't on the ball. One of the few times they were. And that's what's going on in Westchester. 77, WABC. Got the Rolling Stones. This is number 1, Satisfaction, on the 60s edition of the Top 5 at 10 on WABC. Can't get no satisfaction. Rolling Stones on 77 WABC. And there you have it, the number 1 song on the Top 5 at 10. The Top 5 at 10 was brought to you by 7-Up, who want you to know that America... That's wrong. 7-Up, who wants you to know. The people at 7-Up want you to know. But it doesn't say the people at 7-Up. It says it was brought to you by 7-Up, who wants you to know. All this time, how long have we been doing the Top 5 at 10? How long have I been saying it wrong? Just put it in front of me and I'll read it. 7-Up, who wants you to know. I'm just going to keep on saying it the way I've been saying it all along. I'm sorry I even brought it up. America is turning 7-Up.
On this morning, the day after the untimely end of John Lennon's life, I go back specifically back to 1964. And in those days, it was kind of rock music was really put down. It was, to quote the phrase the time, animal music. That's what it was really just called back in the 50s and especially into the 60s. And I worked in radio in those days right here on WABC, and we had a hard time because we had an awful lot of people listening to radio, but the folks who bought commercial time, they didn't want to be associated with that. They thought, gee, we're running an airline. You know, why should we have advertisement on your show? Well, it turns out there were an awful lot of other people, aside from young people, who listen to the radio, as we knew then and know now, because you're listening and you were listening then, and your parents were probably. A lot of people were amazed to find out that the Beatles could sing music other than just plain old rock and roll, and this was one of the tunes in one of their first albums that opened up their noses of a lot of people about how well they could do it.
As I write this letter, send my love to you.
I believe that was who was the guy who wrote 76 Trombones on Music Man? Can't remember. Wasn't that one of his tunes? You don't remember. I don't remember either, frankly. Meredith Wilson, right. I believe that was his, but I'm sorry I can't remember. It's 20 minutes before 7 o'clock. Gus Engelman's been out all night long in the story. We'll be talking to Gus in just a couple minutes.
You know the song we sing, and
17 minutes before 7 o'clock. Cloudy today, chance of rain toward evening. It's 47, it's cloudy, and it's kind of a grim morning after the passing of John Lennon. And Gus Engelman's been on the story all night. You've been over at the Dakota, Gus. What's been happening there all night long?
Dan, an incredible scene outside that apartment building where John Lennon lived. Still over 100 people gathered outside the building, many of them there all night, an all-night vigil. They brought blankets. They all have radios, listening to Beatle tunes all night long, many of them tuned to our station, listening to the tribute that we've had all night to John Lennon. I spoke to a couple from Reading, Pennsylvania. They drove all night to arrive at that building, and I asked them why. And they said this was the only way they could show the love and respect that they had for John Lennon, what his music meant to their lives. They couldn't sleep. They were watching television when the news came over of his death, and they just got into their cars, and they just drove to the building. They had to.
Just had to come and just be there, I guess, to show how they felt. It's amazing how the music of John Lennon touched people. A lot of folks, of course, as I said before, put down so-called rock music, and yet there was a quality to the man that was so very human that I know of an awful lot of people who have been touched by various songs he's written, and I imagine that when you get touched by a song, it's a very personal experience. I can understand why people would drive all the way from Pennsylvania just to stand there and just stand.
True,
what has happened now, incidentally, and not so incidentally, with this person, this deranged person who has invaded all our lives, I guess? Do they have any reason why?
That's the puzzling question, Dan. Why? What was the motive? What was the reason? And if police know, they still haven't told us. They said when they brought him back to the station house that he was coherent, that he did make a statement. So they may have an admission, a confession, but they're not telling us yet why he did it.
As I understand it, he emptied his gun into John Lennon and then just stood there.
Lying in wait, just like an like an assassin. In fact, I spoke to one of the police who was first on the scene when he was grabbed, apprehended by police, and they said the suspect, Mark David Chapman, he was just standing there with a sort of a crazy smile on his face, as if he was just detached from all reality, just waiting to be apprehended. And not saying anything, not babbling, not saying a word, just with a sort of like his hands outstretched, waiting for the police to grab him.
Just waiting for the cops.
Just incredible. And the other bizarre aspect of this story, Dan, as we know, is that he approached John Lennon about 6 hours before he killed him, or is accused of killing him. At 5 o'clock last night, when Lennon left the apartment to go to that recording session, according to police, he actually approached him and asked for his autograph. And John Lennon gave him his autograph. So he was within, 2 feet of John Lennon then. And after John Lennon left to go to that recording session, he just hung around the building for another 6 hours, lying in wait with that gun, with that .38, waiting for him to get out of the car. And when he got out of the car, he simply said from the shadows, "Mr. Lennon, Mr. Lennon." John turned around, and then he fired what we now know probably 5 shots into his body. Never had a chance.
I'm not paranoid, but I have had situations in which people have waited outside the ABC building. If you remember, about a year ago, there was a lady who came into our lobby.
Yes.
And asked for me. And George Michael, who was working here at the time, was now working in Washington, went down to say, Mr. Ingles already left. And she reached into her purse, at which time George, the guard, and the engineer who went down with him all went in different directions behind desks and around walls. She ran away and was never heard of since, except that she showed up a week later. We waited outside all afternoon, all Saturday while I was on the air. And you can't help but wonder where it is. Where's the breaking point? What snaps? What goes on in the mind of kind of a person who would perhaps carry a gun around for 6 hours, 6 weeks, or whatever, just for the purpose of killing someone? It's a little frightening, isn't it?
Yes, and you can't help but wondering, even if Lennon had protection, a bodyguard, would it have done any good?
No.
If somebody's lying in wait in the shadows with a gun, determined to kill somebody, just firing away, as we now know he did, even if he had a bodyguard, he probably would have killed the bodyguard too. Just an insane thing.
Yeah. Thank you, Gus. Appreciate it. We'll be talking with you more, and we'll have more WABC News Team coverage coming up on WABC. Right now, it's time to check the traffic with Joe Nolan, the WABC Shadow Traffic.
It just seems, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Like it really doesn't matter what the traffic is doing, sort of.
Well, it does. Yeah, one of the things you have to do is go on, even though you might be personally touched. And one of the things practically you have to do is get to work.
So true. And we have a 9 inbound Grand Central Parkway is slow and 168 alternate side of the street parking in effect in all 5 boroughs. I'm Joe Nolan with WABC Shadow Traffic.
Thank you, Joe. We'll have the weather coming up just a minute.
WABC News Time 4:59 coming up. Ross and Wilson. First, the weatherman says it'll be mostly cloudy today, then variable cloudiness tonight and tomorrow. Our daytime highs in the mid to upper 40s, the low tonight, the mid to upper 30s. I'm Rick James. It's 42 degrees at WABC, New York's radio station, urging you to conserve water.
Lying in bed with the radio on.
77 WABC at 5:02, and it's after 5 o'clock. It is Monday morning. It is March the 9th. It is 1954, and welcome to the nearly famous Ross and Wilson Show. Let's get all the mistakes out of the way first. This isn't Atlanta. It's
Brian.
not January.
Brian.
My name is Ross. His name is Ross, and that's Kiki, the engineer. The studio audience is all in place. Dan Ingram is not here this morning. He is on in the afternoon. Joe Nolan is not talking right now. Is there anything else?
I think you covered it all, except that this is 1981, Brian.
Well, time certainly flies when you're having a good time. And I think we ought to make a special welcome to everyone that's here this morning, because this certainly is a propitious occasion. Propitious,
right?
Occasion.
Uh-huh.
This is our first show in the Large Apple.
The Big Apple, Brian.
Yeah. And everyone is, oh, look, the guy's bringing the pooper scooper in already. Wow. How propitious. How timely.
Never mind. Well, good morning. This is 77 WABC, New York's radio station.
Cloudy today, going up to 48. It's 41 right now. It's Ross and Wilson. 77 WABC at 5:07, 7 minutes after 5 o'clock. It is the nearly famous Ross and Wilson Show. Well, this is what we've been waiting for.
Yes,
Ross.
it is.
First show in the Large Apple. You're probably asking yourself what the weather is.
And the answer is...
I'm not going to tell you.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
Thank
It's going to be cloudy today. It's going to up to about 48. It's going to be cloudy tonight, probably a lot darker, with a high about 38, and then cloudy again tomorrow with a high around 48. And then the outlook for Wednesday is cloudy with a high around 48. It'll be dark again Wednesday night with a low around 38.
Brian.
On Thursday, it'll be cloudy with a high around 48. Thursday,
Brian. Thank you. It's 42 degrees now.
You ever notice how the weather forecast repeats itself?
Yes, I did. At 77 WABC, let's pause for just a moment.
Okay.
For this important message from the WABC Community Bulletin Board here.
Oh, isn't this going to be exciting?
If getting high is getting you down, WABC New York's radio station suggests you call the Lower East Side Service Center for help. Help! Now, don't let getting high ruin your life. Or run your life. A message you...
Well, which one is it? Is it going to be ruin or run?
Well, either or, Brian. Make much difference, you know.
I guess. It's not getting quality stuff, you know. I mean, it'll really be rough on you out there.
Never mind.
8 minutes after 5 o'clock. This is the very first and possibly the last Ross and Wilson Show.
And we've got some Bruce Springsteen music to start off your morning.
My partner Ross Britton and I are tickled to death to be here in the Big Apple with you here at WABC.
Got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack.
77 WABC, New York's radio station, 5:11, 11 minutes after 5 o'clock. It is 42 degrees, and if you're just tuning in, you've missed the first 11 minutes of the nearly famous Ross and Wilson Show's debut.
But still to come, John Maher will be in with a little bit of farm news a little later on, and in sports last night.
I know a lot of you are wondering what large whites are doing this morning. And, they're going for about, 99 a dozen.
I think John will have all the details. I think what we're talking about here is things like sow belly futures and stuff like that. I mean, not large whites.
Soybeans. Soybeans are big.
Soybeans are big.
About this big
Brian.
Bumper crop this year.
Never mind. In sports, Rangers tied Detroit last night 4-all. Knicks lost to Boston 115-94. And the New York Arrows indoor soccer season closed out last night with a victory over the Horizons 8-7.
They're going to they're going to the final. They're going to the playoff. They're going for the big one. The Arrows.
The big one.
The soccer team. They're going to do real well.
Did you see Walter Cronkite's last newscast last Friday night?
Yes, I did.
It wasn't exactly the way I thought he'd go out, you know. He just sort of thanked everybody. It was very gracious and everything.
I really wanted him to do something really outstanding. Something really, really magnificent.
Like what, for instance?
I don't know. You know, he's always been so level, so even, so straight. That's
even
whatever.
Keel.
Even keel. I wanted him to say something like, "Now we're all going to go down to the disco and boogie our shoes off," or something like that.
Something equally as tasteless, huh?
Yeah, really.
And Dan Rather's first newscast is tonight at 7 o'clock. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Followed by the Muppet Show.
Gee, how appropriate. Oh, hey, listen. I want to say hello to Steve. Hello to Steve. Hello, Steve. We got our first phone call that I just answered mere moments ago over here on the in studio line.
Yeah.
Steve called from Daytona Beach, Florida, where he is listening to the Ross and Wilson Show even as we speak.
Well, as they say in the business, wow, what a deal.
Wow, what coverage.
Why did he call in?
Well, he called in because he wanted us to play a warm, tender, sweet love song for his girlfriend, who's currently pining away for him over right here in Manhattan.
Wow.
No, she's over in Brooklyn.
A warm,
no, she's in Manhattan.
Tender.
Maybe he's in Brooklyn.
Never mind.
That's right.
He's in Daytona Beach.
Well, he lives in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
I'm confused.
Never mind.
She's in Manhattan. Her name is Teresa, and I figured it's the least we could do for our first phone call.
Sort of a long distance dedication.
I was going to say that.
I knew you were.
I was going to say that. So to Teresa from Steve in Daytona Beach, here's a warm, sweet, tender love song on WABC.
I've been cheated, been mistreated. When will I be
This is New York's radio station, 77 WABC. And And this is New York's baseball team, the Yankees.
You're talking to a #1 Yankee fan.
They're great. Bucky Dent is pretty cute.
Reggie Jackson, best team in baseball.
Jackson, Guidry, Winfield, they're all on board. Holy cow.
I love the Yankees. They're the best. I like Ron Guidry, Craig Nettle.
Yankees. This is New York.
They're New York, and that's what New York is, a bunch of winners. Everyone's a winner.
All season long, New York Yankee baseball on New York's radio station, 77 WABC.
Hello and good morning, everybody. This is Ron Lundy. Probably for the next few months, I'm going to be saying it's a couple of minutes after 10, but we know better than that, don't we? I've been, doing that for all my life. So it's 4 minutes past 9 o'clock at 77 WABC. Little production. Oh, yeah. That's Aretha. Let's unite it together, darling, and I'm going to play this just for you. Because you always get a better song. It's 77 WABC. Hey, those two guys are really something, Ross and Wilson. Let's give them a couple of days, let them sort of get the lay of the land, as they say, and you are going to love them. Crack me up, that's for sure. 77 WABC, minutes away from Dan Ingram returning to the afternoon. Dan's here and his retinue and everybody, they're all getting ready to go. Minutes from now, WABC. If I can't have you, forget about it. I'll just spend the rest of my life alone. 77 WABC. Next, the Big Dan Ingram Show as he returns to the afternoon in a couple of minutes at 3 o'clock. Thanks for being with me today. Hope to see you tomorrow at high noon. Oh, here's a couple of Dan's favorites right here. Dolly Parton, 9 to 5. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How you doing today? I feel like I just came out of a long tunnel. Oh, it's good to be with you at WABC. And one other thing, I came in today, I took Friday off with film, and usually mail piles up over a weekend, but I found so many nice letters saying we're going to be listening to in the afternoon. There's a couple dozen there, and it's kind of nice to be with you. Hey, it's good to be with you at WABC. Always a better song at 77, New York's radio station.
You're an anchor on the tide. You're what gets me through. Not for now, not today. Nobody here is
Fly Away. Theme song from Benihana of Tokyo. Right. It's 3 minutes past 3 on WABC in the Ingram Match. How you doing? Ah, it's a love thing. Looks like a hickey to me, but then what do I know? What can I tell you? Hey, it's 4 minutes past 3 already. Time goes fast in the afternoon, huh? Love it. Whispers, 77 WABC, New York's radio station. 7 minutes past 3 o'clock in the Ingram Mess. The honor group of the day, folks who don't feel guilty about it.
We know it's tough to buy a new car. That's why we, your Lincoln Mercury dealers and Lincoln Mercury division, are doing something about it. Announcing the 10% cash savings plan.
Budget stores.
I wear the size 42 collar.
Words are all I have to take your heart away.
I was thinking Father Midori when I heard that song. It's a wonderful show here on WABC. Pete Midori, it's called Words. You listen to it. It's 12 minutes past 3 on WABC, the station that loves you because we can sell you. We're giving it up for your love, baby. You know it. Would you believe Delbert's in Clinton? Usually I say, don't change the name for showbiz, but just in case someone should have. All right, Delbert. Do it. You're working with it, Delbert.
Giving it up for your love. everything. Giving it up for your love right now. Giving it up for your love somehow. I'm giving it up for your love with everything. I'm giving it up for your love.
Oh, giving it up to your love on WABC, New York's radio station. Nobody ever plays this record, so I thought I would. It's the number 9 Dream. Play John Lennon on WABC. But as always,